This week on Shots from the Hip, football and lots of football in the CFL. Winnipeg loses, Hamilton loses, Toronto wins, BC wins, and the plot thickens, especially for that number 6 spot. In the NFL, they're dropping like flies. Injuries everywhere before the season even begins. So, coming up, we're going to talk a lot of football, maybe some other sports, all of it tariff-free, right here on Shots from the Hip.
Welcome to Shots from the Hip podcast. Brought to you by Royal Retros on the Shotgun Sports Network. Here are your hosts, Jason Bizik and Oz Davis.
Hey, hipsters watching on the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel or listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notification bell to be notified when we post this show or any other videos on the Shotgun Sports Network. We have a ton of them. We have the Elks Herd, we have Argos Fancast, and of course us, Shots from the Hip. This is episode 30, and we took a week off. I went camping, and just like the NFL and the Stampeders and the Rough Riders, I am on the injured list. I have an injury. Injuries abound. I hopped off of my truck and landed awkwardly on my ankle, and so that's why I'm sitting so awkwardly. I have my foot up, and
You landed on your ankle. Wow.
yeah, I jumped off my tailgate and just landed funny and did something. I don't know. How are you?
Well, that's not a
You
great
big
question to
star.
ask. Am I a big star? Last week, I guested on a show called the CFL Outsiders, not a Shotgun Sports Network show. So that was a lot of fun. We had planned to do the show next week, but Jason got called out to the countryside. So sorry for that. But yeah, I was kind of steered the wrong way on the Hamilton game, the Hamilton-Toronto game. Thanks to, I'm going to blame that pick on Football Outsiders. But I just wanted to make sure, Jason, we can still do this show, right? I mean, we're not firing shots at each other, right? On the Shotgun Sports Network.
No,
Okay.
no.
Our leaders are teeing off on each other, but I guess
No. I mean, if it's all CFL, I'm all down for it. Yeah. The more FaceTime, the better.
I wonder if those tariffs are going to affect the player ratio in the CFL. Do you think they're going to be a 50% tax on that?
That's a good question. Jeez.
American players, stock up on Canadian goods before you come back home. They're cheaper there.
I wonder if we can tariff Canadian players going to the NFL.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, all 10 of them, all 10 of them, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's not too many in the NFL. Alex Singleton is still over there. I guess he's the most notable.
And Chase Claypool, I think those are the only two.
Yep. Well, those are the major ones. So there are some others.
But hey, we got plenty of CFL to talk about because we missed last week's show. So I mean, I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you because you're an Alouettes fan, so you're just loving life right now. But as a Stampeders fan, I'm starting to worry.
What, you felt like you lost in the bye week? For me, a couple of takeaways here from week 12. I was interested to note that turnovers killed at least 3 teams this week. At least iced the game for 3 teams this week, and not one of them was Toronto. So I thought that was interesting. And the other thing is that while because of the Saskatchewan loss, the division leaders are both really solidifying their hold on the West and the East. This race for the number 6 spot in the playoffs is really tightening up. I mean, basically so there would be 5 teams are competing for that last spot at this point.
Man.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
We've got because the league is so top heavy with Edmonton at 8-3 and Montreal at 9-1.
Mhm.
So we've got what? We've got BC at 5-5. We've got Winnipeg at 5-5. We've got Calgary at 4-6, and we've got Hamilton at 4-7.
Mhm.
So that is quite the battle. I won't list Toronto in there because I think that with that win over Hamilton now, Toronto really has a nice grip on that number 2 seed. Still undefeated at home, and with a lot of home games coming up in the schedule. So at this point, I'm inking in Toronto into that number 2 spot, I think, in the East.
Dang.
So
They're only 2 points ahead of Hamilton.
well, yeah, but they've got the game in hand. And like I
True.
say, they've got a lot more home games coming down the stretch.
Mhm.
And so you've got to figure. And again, Toronto is turning over the ball until this past week. They're turning over the ball at a clip of about 4 times per game. And still they're 5-5. They're at a -7 point differential. And still they're 5-5. So I really think that Toronto is trending upward, let's
Mhm.
say. And I don't really think that Hamilton is. Hamilton is getting to the point where the fans are starting to look at their watch and going, when is Bo Levy coming back? And can he salvage this season? So
Wow.
like I said at the top of the show, the plot is thickening.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, Trey Ford was 19 to 32 for 356 yards, but no touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, Hamilton, we can jump right into that game. The third game of the week was Toronto 39, Hamilton 20. Um, Basically, after going on the CFL Outsiders, I was kind of convinced that Hamilton defense had turned a corner. Winton McManus has really shown up this past 3 or 4 games. Of course, in week 11, Hamilton had beaten Saskatchewan pretty handily, 26-19. And on the other side, again, you have Toronto, which has been a turnover machine. But in this game, look, at half, the score is 25-17. Toronto, Hamilton is letting them score a lot of points. Hamilton has 0 turnovers in the first half. Okay, but then the third quarter, complete disaster. Trey Ford fumbles the ball. Next drive, miss on the third down conversion. Next drive, miss on the third down conversion. Game is basically over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Game is basically over at that point, and TSN again is openly wondering when Bo Levy Mitchell is coming back. So I don't think that did Hamilton ever even have the lead in this game? I don't think so, if I recall correctly.
I don't know. That's a good
And
question.
so as an Alouettes fan, I was slightly concerned. I kind of wish that Hamilton would give Toronto a game, make Toronto sweat for the rest of the season, but now it looks like Toronto has the lock. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I cannot be impressed with Trey Ford, gaudy stats and all. I think a lot of that was in garbage time in that fourth quarter. So
yeah, luckily by the time this game happened, it didn't matter for Montreal because you guys had already slaughtered Ottawa.
Yeah. How about that? How about that game? Okay. For 8 minutes, Ottawa looked great. Actually a little bit more. I should say for the first 11 minutes. Because on the first drive of the game, Ottawa takes the kickoff, burns 8 minutes off the clock. Right? It caps the drive with a touchdown. Great. Next drive, Montreal goes 3-0. Great. Looking pretty good. After that, Ottawa gets 27-yard gain based on 2 penalties on a single play. And, this has been a trend in the past few games is that first quarter, Montreal's head seems to be not in the game in general, getting a lot of dumb penalties in the first quarter. But just as, Ottawa looks like they're about to go up 2 scores, interception in the end zone. 7 plays later, it's a touchdown by Montreal. Next drive, Ottawa fumbles the snap. Ento gets the 49-yard return. 3 plays later, touchdown Montreal. Next drive, Ento gets the pick 6. And as they say, the route was on. Ottawa's 0-10. 2 days later, Sean Burke, GM/VP of football operations, is fired. Again, kind of putting a Band-Aid on cancer there in Ottawa. I really don't think that firing your GM more than halfway through the season is going to be the solution. So, meanwhile, you kind of trolled me a little bit a couple of weeks ago, asking me if Montreal should be considered one of the better historical CFL teams. Well, during this game, they were starting to talk about some individual stat records. The all-time record for passing yards in a season is, of course, Doug Flutie, 6,619 yards for the BC Lions in 1991. The all-time receiving record is held by Alan Pitts, 2,036 yards for Calgary in 1994, when, of course, his quarterback was Doug Flutie. So now, statistically speaking, at least, we're comparing Davis Alexander and Tyson Philpott to this duo. Now, thankfully, Davis Alexander sat mostly the entire fourth quarter in this game. Again, Alouettes fans do not want to see him out there in a blowout situation against a winless team, possibly taking an injury. But after this game now, Davis Alexander is still on pace for 6,000 yards, 6,120 exactly, assuming he plays all 18 games. At his current pace, he would need 17 games to break 6,000, which has been done, I believe, 4 times in CFL history, 3 times by Doug Flutie. So Alexander probably won't get the passing yard record this season. However, Tyson Philpott is on pace for 2,212 yards, right? That's 180 better than Pitts. Now, he could break 2,000 yards in 16 games at his current pace. So here are some things to look for in terms of the Alouettes. They still need, now that Toronto has won, they can't clinch the East for another, 4 weeks, I believe. So the next 4 games potentially still matter for the Alouettes. However, wow. I mean, it's incredible that Philpott is having such a statistically monster season when the Owls receiving core has other options. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. When Flutie was throwing to Pitts, okay, the Stamps had other options that year, 1994, but Pitts was clearly number one. Philpott started the season as one of a bunch, among this receiving core. So really just Philpott is having an amazing season. And there becomes this question of who are you going to nominate for the MOP? Now in 1994, the Stamps actually chose Doug Flutie despite the massive record-breaking season by Alan Pitts. So, it's tough to make the argument for Tyson Philpott when Davis Alexander is, he's clearly the MOP.
I'd be curious to know when the last time a receiver was considered for MOP.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure that teams have nominated wide receivers since then, but Pitts might be the last serious candidate for this, for the league, for the league.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think that, if the season ended today, we'd all be surprised. But if the season ended today, clearly Tyson Philpott is your Canadian MOP,
Oh yeah.
right? So the again, this is a situation where Philpott could be the league MVP, except that his quarterback is going to be the league MOP. So I don't know. They were saying during this game, the color guys for TSN were saying, well, look, if Alan Pitts couldn't win it in 94, how can any receiver win the MOP in the CFL?
Mhm.
I mean, the system is just not conducive to giving the wide receiver thing. Maybe the CFL should cop out and do what the NFL does, where it's like, what is it? MOP and then most outstanding offensive player. Like, how are these things different? But it's really just an excuse, to give receivers, to give running backs, guys like Saquon Barkley, or Cooper Cup that 1 year for the Rams. It's just an excuse to give them an MVP trophy. When
So here's
the reality is that quarterback is the most important position in sports, in team
so here's a
sports.
question for you.
Mhm.
Comes down to, let's say Montreal keeps destroying teams in the next few weeks. They
Mhm.
clinch a spot.
Mhm.
Records are on the line.
Mhm.
Or do Alexander and Philpott get sat for a few games to save them for playoffs?
Well, you can't sit them. You can't sit them because, I mean, we saw this happen with the Argos.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this happen in the NFL, most famously with Peyton Manning's Indiana Colts that 1 year. Where you sit your starters for the last couple of games, they enter the playoffs, they're cold, right? So you can't sit them entirely. However, especially since in the CFL, Montreal's going to get the 1 week bye. They're going to get that first week of the playoffs as a bye. So you can't sit them entirely. Tyson, I could see him playing it out, even if we have this thing clinched with 4 games left to play. I could see him playing it out. It's a less injurious position. I don't think that we have to target him. If Dustin Crum is the quarterback, I don't think you have to target Tyson Philpott. I think this would be a
Mm-hmm.
good excuse to really, continue on with the running game, which has been awesome this year, and just grind out these last few games. Um, Alexander, that's another question. I mean, this is a quarterback with a history of fragility, and still an unbeaten mark at home, still an unbeaten mark in, let's say, an unbeaten mark in regular time in the regular season in the CFL. Again, the only game that Alexander has lost as a starter was in the first game played with the new overtime rules. Right? That was the only game he lost,
Mm-hmm.
was when we had to go to this 2-point conversion overtime system. So, but you can't, and this guy, I mean, it's not exactly a glass jaw, but you can't play him out full games if these games are meaningless. You can't.
Wow. Yeah.
You know.
We're not talking about a
Forget the
quarterback that
record.
just we're not
Forget.
talking about a quarterback that just sits back in the pocket and throws the ball. He actually he lays his
Yep.
body on the line
Yep.
game after game, and
Yep.
it's got to scare the shit out of you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not as insane as Cody Fajardo is, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, again, every time he starts running, he's not the speediest guy. I mean, this is not Trey Ford. He's not Wiley. But he is fearless, and unfortunately, Montreal fans are not fearless. So,
Hmm.
so it is a bit nerve wracking every time he starts carrying the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, Davis, settle down. Want to go for the record? Fine. Just do it from the pocket. Just do it.
Yeah.
Look at Flutie. Go back to the tape. Look at Flutie in the 90s. He's not scrambling too much. So yeah. Yeah. Look at the tape, Davis.
Now
But yeah. Mhm.
Now you mentioned Cody Fajardo, who
Mhm.
is another quarterback who doesn't lose very often.
Yep.
Um, and they won again this week. They beat
Yeah.
Winnipeg.
What a strange game. What a strange game.
It was a strange
Uh,
game.
yeah. The TSN guys were really giving kudos, and I want to make sure I've got this correct here. They were really giving kudos in the first half to the Winnipeg offense, of course, in general, and especially the Winnipeg offensive coordinator, Tommy Tommy Condell, especially the offensive line for Winnipeg, which really played their best half of the season. I mean, you could say the best entire game of the season, although I would say that the run blocking in the second half was not good. Meanwhile, the Winnipeg defense was just on a heater. I mean, just take a look at this. Okay, so here are the Edmonton drives in the first half. All right, here are the results. Uh, 2-and-out punt, fumble, 2-and-out punt, interception, 2-and-out punt, touchdown, miss the 2-point conversion, and then punt. Right? Uh, this is what Edmonton managed in the first half. I think the statistic was that Winnipeg had 13 first downs in the first half. Edmonton had 1. Okay. So at halftime, clearly Edmonton coaching staff is saying, hey, wait a minute now. Winnipeg has statistically the worst run defense in the CFL, and we
Yeah.
have Justin Rankin. So what's going on? Well, here's what's going on. In the first half, Justin Rankin had 2 carries for 8 yards, no
Brutal.
catches. No catches. Second half, 17 carries for 85 yards, plus 133 total yards. Okay. Here's the Winnipeg drives in the second half. You ready for this?
Yeah.
2-and-out punt, 2-and-out punt, 2-and-out punt, interception, and then field goal in the fourth quarter. And I don't know. For me, there wasn't really any doubt that you give Cody the ball with slightly under 3 minutes left, they're going to score. Sure enough, they did. Drive, field goal, win. Okay. So, very strange game.
Mhm.
I was really kind of expecting Edmonton to open it up. And really, after, some nail biters, of course, they won handily in week 11. But, after some nail biters recently, the loss to the Riders, the destruction at the hands of Montreal, I was really expecting them to come out and make a statement. But just in that first half, could not get anything going. And the defense could not stop anybody. But in the second half, things clicked. I chose Edmonton in this game because I thought they had really bottomed out. I thought that last week against Toronto, that they really had. This was the indication that they had bottomed out for the season, that they were really going to start coming back, but it just took a while for them to get going. Now, I think that unfortunately for Winnipeg, again, this felt like in the first half, this felt like the old Bombers. This felt like the best performance by the offense this season. And then in the second half, this just disappeared. So I really think that I feel like Winnipeg has peaked out for sure. I really feel like Winnipeg is now battling for that number 6 spot. And they get Montreal this week as BC is rising. As BC is rising and Calgary is coming off the bye week. So Winnipeg, I think, may have peaked out for the
I
season.
don't know. I mean, they definitely played great in that first quarter, and if
Yeah.
they can keep playing
First
like
half,
that,
yeah.
they can win ball game or first half. They can definitely win ball games.
Yeah, but how long can Winnipeg survive on smarts alone? The
Yeah.
truth is this has got to be the oldest roster in the CFL. It's
Oh,
got to be.
probably. It's got to be.
And yeah, and their old stalwarts are just not at the height of their career anymore.
Yeah.
This is a team of lots of players being past their peak and a few young guys whose upside is still on the table. It's not there yet. So I don't know. I don't really think this is Winnipeg's year. And at this point, I think they're just 5-6, but still, I think at this point, going into Montreal next week, or taking on Montreal next week, you got to be thinking, wow. I mean, at this point, you're wondering if they're going to make the playoffs. Honestly, it sounds weird to say. They're still now. I guess they're in 4th place. BC has jumped them on the table. But, it seems strange to say, but I don't know. I feel like they've been kind of playing above their heads all season, especially since, again, this felt like the best game their offense had played all year, and they still lost, to the team that's probably going to win the West. So,
yeah.
I felt like this is an indication that Winnipeg is not really the Grey Cup contender this season.
Let's jump to a game that was bittersweet for me because I really needed Saskatchewan to win. But I kind of always love watching the Riders lose.
Of course. That's the thing. And here's the crazy thing. I mean, again, like, I had been waiting all year for this. Last season, they led wire to wire. Last season, okay, in the beginning of the year, they had a few games where traditionally they got themselves into some trouble because of dumb penalties in the second half, which for some reason, through 2 coaching staffs now, which for some reason this has become a tradition in Saskatchewan. What is up with this team getting dumb penalties? What is up with this team shooting itself in the foot? Now, again, here we are. We were all roped in going, wow, they're competing with Edmonton. Wow, they might win the West back-to-back seasons. Nope. They did we're hot in the first half, and we're going to be marginal in the second half. And, after this loss to BC, handy loss to BC, now it feels like Saskatchewan's battling for 3rd place in the West. It feels like BC is inevitably going to jump them, because I think that BC is upwardly trending at the right time now. This was really BC's sharpest game this year. The defense was locked in, and Saskatchewan just got killed by the dumb penalties. Look, the stats say that they took 7 penalties for 72 yards, but it felt like a lot more. Why? Here's why. In the second quarter, touchdown pass called back. Penalty, right? In the third quarter, first, roughing the passer in the red zone gives BC the ball at the 1 and first down. Okay? They're going to score the touchdown after that. Okay? After that, the special teams appeared to have gotten the fumble touchdown, but this was called back because of the 5 yards, the 5-yard rule, right? Finally, also in the third period, three dumb calls in the third period alone. Also in the third quarter, I should say. Also in the third quarter, interception called back on a penalty. So they're leaving what? They're leaving 3 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns and a turnover on the field because of penalties. Yeah, and this killed them. And then for I think the 3rd week in a row, we can say they just fell apart in the 4th quarter. Just fell apart. Just could not produce in the 4th quarter at all. And again, you can blame it on the receiving core being injured. However, Emelis was back in this game, so I'm not willing to blame it completely on a depleted receiving core. Okay. So, wow. I've been talking a lot about trending up, trending down. Well, Saskatchewan is trending down right now.
Yeah.
And really it's a mental issue. I mean, okay, combination of injuries and mental issue. But, look, this is not the team that won the division last year. So, anyway.
and speaking of injuries, I think I saw today it was posted that Sam Emelis is now on the 6-game injured list. So again, he must have got injured in this game again.
Yeah, he went out. I was not aware that he was actually back on the 6-game list, but yeah, he went out in this game, probably in that disastrous third quarter, if I remember correctly, because the fourth quarter, I, I don't know who Trevor Harris was throwing to in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, this is just going forward again, like Bombers fans, Riders fans have got to be concerned, right? This is bad loss for the Riders. Bad loss for the Riders, just like bad loss for the Bombers. So, really, like I said at the top of the show, the plot thickens. Now, the question mark in the league right now, I feel like, is your Stamps, who had the bye this week. All right. So, I mean, should we go to NFL or should we just go to next week's CFL games?
Well, we gotta jump and we gotta do our picks, so we'll quickly do those.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the future is looking bleak for the Stampeders, although they do have a somewhat favorable schedule. So
Yeah. I mean, again, they're looking up at Winnipeg and Saskatchewan.
yes.
And both of those teams to me look like they're falling. Calgary is going to be watching Hamilton very closely, looking for that crossover. At least,
Well, not only that, we play them this week, so
right, and exactly this
we play Ottawa 2 more times too. So and Winnipeg once. I keep telling people I'm at the point in the season where I'm counting on other teams to lose.
Yep. Well, I mean, on the other hand, you could say that Calgary is not exactly the way we use it, but Calgary is really kind of in charge of their own destiny here. Calgary can really control their own fate. They've got to find some energy on this offense that's just not there. I'm sure you remember last year they closed out the season 3-4. And in 4 of those games, I think in 5 of the games, they did not score a passing touchdown. In 4 of those games, they didn't have an offensive score, at least an offensive touchdown. So, and it feels like this is what's been happening the past few games. All of a sudden, this offense has become low watt, right? And
yet they're still leading in the points for.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it was because of the 1-7 touchdown game, right?
Well,
that's completely skewing the statistics.
Yes.
For Calgary. It's making both their defense look better and their offense look better. Because that game was such a blowout. And the defense allowed like far fewer points than in most of these games this season that they've been doing. So, that's what you got to hope for in Calgary. You got to hope for, you almost want to see gunslinger Vernon Adams back again. You almost want to see him taking chances again because, again, in these past few seasons, he's been going conservative in the second half of the year. And right now, you really shouldn't be doing that. Now, on the other hand, with these 3 games against the East coming up, maybe you don't have to be insane. But wow, I just want to see some signs of life from this Calgary offense that we know are there. It's just what happens to this team in the second half these past few seasons. I just don't get it. Okay, we'll go on to the Calgary game second because that's the second game of the week. But the first game of the week is, and I thought that actually for the third year in a row, we were going to get Montreal Winnipeg in the playoffs again. Now I'm not so sure. Going into the week, I was thinking, okay, Winnipeg probably get the crossover and then they could beat Toronto, I think, at home in Toronto. And then they would be facing off against Montreal in the East. Of course, I got way ahead of myself. And so this week, Montreal goes to Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a 4.5-point underdog. The way that Winnipeg played last week,
CFL website has 7.5 points.
7.5 now. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what okay. So it opened at 4.5, but now I see that a couple of the American sports books have it at 6.5. So
Okay.
CFL has it at 7.5. Maybe those are the odds plus the tariff in Canada. Maybe that's going to be the running joke of the show. Uh, but I would not be shocked to see Winnipeg pull off the upset, but I
Wow.
don't think it's going to happen.
What?
I'm still going. I'm going to take Montreal in this game again. I think Winnipeg really put it all out there in the last game, and they still couldn't do a damn thing in the second half. Um, wouldn't be shocked to see Winnipeg win the first quarter. Montreal's been coming out a bit cold in these first quarters
Hmm.
lately, but I mean, in this last game was just a demonstration of here's Montreal. The offense is having some time having a hard time getting warmed up, but the defense and the special teams take over.
Hmm.
Now, okay, this is Ottawa, but still, I mean, they did the same thing against Edmonton. Offense couldn't get going, and so the defense started, playing like a Noel Thorpe defense. And so, yeah, I'll take Montreal. I'll even be gutsy and take Montreal minus the touchdown.
Oh,
Sure, why not?
I will also take Montreal because they're looking too unstoppable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're
They're
just
just they're just too good.
we're just on a run. I mean, what defense could stop these guys? Not Winnipeg. Not this year.
No,
Not this year.
no.
Okay, so here's game two. You've got
Hmm.
Calgary. Now they opened as a 6.5 point favorite. I see that some sports books now have them as a 5.5 point favorite. Wow. Sharps betting on Hamilton. Crazy after that last game. Uh, I feel like every week since Bo went down, the question is who's the starting quarterback in Hamilton? Uh, unfortunately, Bo Levy won't get the revenge trip in this game. Uh, Hamilton, I don't know if they actually feel humiliated, but I really felt like that third quarter collapse was just embarrassing for
Hmm.
Hamilton. I really have to suspect that Dave Dickinson will have a proper game plan, and I think this one could get ugly. I'm going to
I
take
hope so.
Calgary in a blowout. Really. Um,
Yeah. I think a lot is going to depend on Dedrick Mills and Vernon Adams Jr. starting this game because they were both injured. Now they did practice today, so that's a good thing. So it's going to be interesting to see if they start the game. If they do, it's going to be a hell of a game. If they don't, Calgary, I think, is still going to come out on top of this one. I'm obviously going with Calgary.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't even think this one's going to be close. I would be tempting to take an alternate line on this thing if I bet it. Um, do we
Uh,
have the next game is Toronto, Saskatchewan? Do we have an injury report for this one yet?
for who?
Well, for the Riders mostly.
The Riders? Let's
Yeah.
see here. Sure
Yeah,
we
let's take a
do.
look. Okay, so we have an update on the injury report, but I'm not sure that we have the Riders listed yet. Oh, we must, yeah, because they did not close out the week. So let's take a look here. All right, who are the Riders going without? The Riders are Wow, Toronto's injury list is long. Wow, the Riders are reporting nobody. Now, that
Hmm.
that must just be okay because the Riders did not practice on Tuesday, August 25th, which is in North America, which is the day that we're recording this. So we don't have anything on the Riders now. Now the Argos are looking a bit dinged up here. Nick Arbuckle limited in practice. Desmond Bland limited in practice on the offensive line. Ryan Hunter on the offensive line is limited. Um, who's this? Brandon Kemp from the offensive line was a DNP. So the offensive line on Toronto is looking a little bit beat up, but I don't know. Like I've been saying in this game, I feel like Toronto is on the upswing. and the Riders are on the downswing. So based on that alone, I think I'm going to have to go Toronto.
Oh,
Hang on just a moment. I'm looking at the schedule here. Yeah, so actually in week 3, this was an early win by the Argos. 40 to 34 in that shootout, if you may remember that game. Pretty. That was one of those games that made me wonder where the defenses were in the CFL this season.
yes.
Uh, so and that's with Toronto not playing very hot football, which I think they are right now. So I'm going to take Toronto. Let's see, what is the line on this game? The line on this game
Four and a
opened
half
at four
points.
and a half at the Riders as a 4.5 point favorites. Wow, that's kind of a sucker bet right now. This is somebody not paying attention. I would be more than happy to take Toronto plus the 4.5, but I think they're going to win outright. I'm going Argos in this game. Argos
All
in this
right.
game, and for the first time this season, they'll have a winning record.
I am going to take Saskatchewan.
Ooh.
Number one, because we picked the same teams in the first 2 games, so I feel like we need to have some sort of competition. Number 2, because I don't think Saskatchewan is going to come back with back-to-back losses, especially against a mediocre Eastern team. So I think they're going to come out
I don't
strong.
know.
I think they're going
I
to come
don't
out
know.
strong.
There is this history. Actually, that would be back losses. This would be 3 in a row for the
Yeah,
Riders.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but I don't know. They have this recent history of doing that. And plus, this is going into the Winnipeg back-to-back. And pretty much since the
Yes.
start of this season, I've had Winnipeg pegged for back-to-back losses in that one. So, just by the numbers, I would not be surprised to see the Riders lose this game, go down to 6-5, and then win back-to-back against Winnipeg and be at 8-5 after week 15. I think that's not an unreasonable scenario. So, yeah, I mean, again, by the numbers, by the fact that the Argos beat them in week 3, not playing complete football, I say Toronto wins this game. I say Toronto sweeps the season series.
Damn.
So, yep. No, I'm getting scared of Toronto. And I'm trying to look back here. I mean, the Riders putting together these losing streaks is certainly not unheard of.
No.
Last year they sandwiched the bye with 2 losses back to back, and they closed out the season 2-4 in the last 6 weeks. After starting so hot. In 2024, let's see. I'm looking at this one. Yeah, in 2024, they had that run right in the middle of the season where they lost 4 in a row, and they went on an 0-6-1 run from weeks. What was this? Weeks 8 to week 14. So even when the Riders are competitive, it is certainly not unheard of for them to take these losing streaks in previous years, with Trevor Harris at quarterback. So, again, 3 games in a row certainly would not be shocking for the Riders. Drop them into 3rd place. That would not be surprising whatsoever. So, yep, Toronto on this one.
And speaking of losing streaks,
yeah.
Is it possible for Ottawa to win a game?
Nah. I mean, you've got to feel bad for Ottawa. I mean, not only is this just not as talented a team as many in the CFL, they're just getting these teams at the wrong times. They're just getting, and you do not. I would not. I don't care what team you are in the CFL, with the exception of maybe Montreal. I don't think you want BC right now. I think BC is finding their way finally, as we've been waiting for them to do all season. I mean, they finished 2nd place in the West last year, and they've been playing sub 500 ball all year this year, and the roster didn't change that much. In fact, if anything, they improved on the receiving core. They improved on the defense this offseason. So we've been waiting all year for BC to turn this around. And, like I've been saying lately, the CFL is definitely a league of streaks, right? How many times, what, 3 times, 4 times in a row now? The Riders are coming out, winning the first 5 games, winning the first 6 games, going 6-1 through 7 or whatever. And they're not ending up, 14-4 in these years, right? Teams that go on these 5-6 game jags. And I really expect that BC, we're going to see, I think this is the hot bit of the season for BC. I don't know if they'll stay hot going into, November, but I think that right now BC is playing peak ball. If I'm making power rankings, I've got BC at number 3.
The face of the league is looking like the face of the league.
Stop
again.
That. Stop that. I mean, look, if you want a Canadian face of the league, if you're not willing to say Davis Alexander or Cody Fajardo, the face of the league is Tyson Philpott. Period. Make it both the Philpott brothers if you want to. Okay, but no. I'm sorry, it's not Nathan Rourke. It's not. Ottawa, for some reason, only opened this game as 5.5-point dogs. I see them at 6.5. I see them at 7.5, 8.5 right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see this go up to 10 by game time. And I wouldn't be surprised to see BC win by like 10. And then we'll see who gets fired in Ottawa.
Is there anyone left?
Well, not Ryan Dinwiddie, so I don't know. I don't know who's going to be the scapegoat after this.
Who knows?
Yeah. There we go. I don't know.
Will Jake Mayer go to another team?
Jesus. Yeah, who knows?
So it sounds like you're picking BC.
Yeah, BC.
I'm going to pick Ottawa.
Wow.
One, because I feel sorry for them. 2, because I have to combat you.
Yep. And 3, because we haven't seen an 11-game losing streak in a single season in a long time in the CFL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the numbers have got to balance out sooner or later. I mean, for God's sake, right? So let's see. Let's take a quick look here. What does Ottawa have coming up here? Let's see. What's their schedule looking like? I mean, it's not like we're going to be able to pick out a win here. I would love to be able to pick them against Hamilton. Do they got a Hamilton coming up soon? Let's see. My computer is behaving badly this morning. Being very slow. Okay. So, let's see.
They have Hamilton October 2nd.
Versus BC, the bye. At Toronto, at Calgary, versus Hamilton, at BC, versus Toronto, at Hamilton. Jesus.
So they have Toronto twice, BC twice, Calgary twice.
Yep.
And Hamilton twice.
Wow. Well, I suppose they could get three or four wins out of that. I don't know. Going into the bye at 0-11. Wow. Is that imaginable? I don't know. I can't see it this week. I can't see
Maybe the bye is the turnaround week.
Yeah, and then they're coming out at Toronto.
Maybe they'll go on some spiritual quest during the bye week, and they'll come out a new team.
All right, they'll do the
Aaron Rodgers
ayahuasca retreat, right? Yeah, that's what they need. That's what they need. In any case, okay. Well, I'm looking for a lot of blowouts this week. You are not, so
yeah. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, so let's go to some NFL news. Aaron Rodgers isn't part of it, but I mean, injuries are. This is, you'd think Rodgers, being as old as he is, would be part of the injuries, but no. Pretty bad when the old guys are healthier than all these young guys that are getting injured.
Yeah. Well, it's a mix, really. It's a mix. 2 weeks ago, we did not cover this last time, but 2 weeks ago, Jeremiah Love for Arizona, the running back out of Notre Dame that everybody was really wanting to see this year, he got injured. He's out for an undetermined amount of time. I mean, will the Cardinals shut him down for the season? as part of the Arch Manning sweepstakes. I don't know. It's unfortunate because the Cardinals don't have a lot to look forward to this season, and he was really looking to be one of the high points, and now he's gone for X number of weeks.
Mhm.
In New Orleans, they're promising rookie Jordan Tyson. He's injured for 2 months. The Saints could very well turn out to be the worst team in the NFL this season. And I guess that would be pretty nice to see Arch Manning playing for Granddaddy's Saints. And that would be pretty exciting for him, especially now since the Saints are a viable team, whereas in Manning's day they were not. So that might be nice for him. But yeah, Jordan Tyson out for New Orleans. In Minnesota, linebacker Jamal Adams, who was the big free agent signing,
Mhm.
hoping to make that the Minnesota defense even more compelling than it was last season. He's out for the season. He got carted off. So don't like to see that happen.
Brutal.
Um, as you told me, Jamar Chase for the Bengals
Yeah,
is
he just got
out
injured
for
today.
an undetermined amount of time. Now, here are the Bengals who have been living on ostensibly one of the lowest budgets in the NFL in terms of scouting, in terms of player resources, in terms of anything else. They've had just a laughable defense. They've been living on a high powered offense. And here we go. So now they're going to start the season even handicapped on their one strength. I mean, cannot be happy about this as a Cincinnati fan. And then your team takes another hit. What's the
Yeah.
situation there?
I just looked before we
Okay.
came on to record, and the only thing that we have is Ashton Genty's injury is an ankle injury.
Okay.
Kubiak did not expand on that, nor did he give a timeline of a return. All he says is he's on the mend.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
um, apparently, he stayed on the ground before being helped off the field by trainers. As he was being helped off, Genty couldn't put pressure on his right leg. So, um, we'll see. I don't know. We still got one preseason game left,
Uh,
and then we fire up the season. I'm gonna say he'll probably be back. I mean, these guys are pretty resilient these days. Although I don't know, we'll see. We'll see more as the
yeah.
week progresses. Here, we'll see what reports come out. But I am not terribly concerned because rookie running back Mike Washington Jr. has been
Mhm.
looking insane in the
Yeah.
preseason. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Genty at all.
Mhm. 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 You got to do. I mean, you've got to do what Sean McVay does for the Rams. I mean, this guy just doesn't play his starters in the preseason. I mean, really, I'm starting to think that this is the way to go. This is the way to go here. Um, you've got to love what's happening in Rams camp. Again, they don't play any of their starters, and so as a result,
Smart.
as a result, now we've got you know three young quarterbacks now, all looking great. It's just awesome. I mean, again, like what's going to derail? I mean, because you know the Rams going wire to wire, not even as defending champs. They're the prohibitive favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. What
Hmm.
are the odds that the prohibitive favorites going wire to wire and winning the Super Bowl is actually gonna happen? I'm just like on pins and needles seeing how this is gonna fall apart. Seeing like how the Rams are not gonna go what, let's say 15-2 and win the Super Bowl.
Have you
You
seen any
know.
of the futures? What are the odds the Rams winning Super Bowl right now?
Well, I
Or
mean,
you're
it
talking about going
opened.
wire to wire, I guess. So that's probably
Yeah,
not
but to
anywhere
win
in
the
the.
Super Bowl, well, yeah, but I mean, they're such prohibitive favorites. I mean, to win the Super Bowl, they opened at 6-1. Since then, they've gone to 5-1, and the next nearest are the Buffalo Bills. at either 10-1 or 11-1. Now, here are the Buffalo Bills that didn't even play in the AFC Championship game last season, who just had a head coaching change, and they're the prohibitive favorites to win the AFC. So so I can't imagine that you can go chalk in the NFL. And so it's a question of, what's going to happen to Buffalo? What's going to happen to the Rams along the way here? Because it's hard to imagine that. I mean, it's maybe the Rams will, get annihilated by a kangaroo in that opening day game in friggin' Australia. I mean, maybe that's going to be the key to the
poisonous
season.
spider.
Yeah. Well, as they say, the world's 10 most poisonous snakes all live in Australia.
That's true.
I mean, maybe there will literally be snake bit there in Australia because, man, just looking at this team, I mean, there's no injuries to report because there's no starters playing. There's no key players playing. So, even the offseason looks good for the Rams. We still have a couple more weeks, right, before the season, before the big preview episode here at Shots from the Hip. So I won't speculate any further, but man, I'm excited.
So before we started talking about NFL, we were talking about the Montreal Alouettes, and if they dominated enough, would they rest their starters heading into playoffs? And you said, no, you don't want to go into playoffs cold. So with the Rams, do they bring starters in cold to start the season then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not as big of a deal.
But with a 17 game schedule, you can do that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, look at how long it takes some of these teams in the CFL to get started.
Ottawa still hasn't started.
Yeah. In the past few years, we've seen this. The only team that hits the ground running is the Riders. Right. This is the only team that looks game ready in week 1, week 2, week 3 of the CFL season. And so, I feel like it's smart for NFL teams to do this.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years that, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, in baseball, it doesn't matter how you look in April. It matters how you look in September.
Right.
The hot team going into the playoffs is going to be the team that's in the championship. Basketball, it doesn't matter how you look in October. I'm sure it's the same in the NHL. It doesn't matter how you look in October.
Yep.
Doesn't. And, the Rams have such a stacked, starting squad that, I mean, I was, all things being equal, the Rams are getting the Niners in Australia in week 1. Right now, I've already got both of those teams penciled in to start the year 1-2. They will. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't even have to look at the schedule. I think that the NFL is competitive enough, and that Australia game is just insane with no bye week after it, that, I guarantee the first 3 games, these teams are both going to look flat. Now the Niners have an injury list as long as my arm. So that's not a bold prediction that they start the season 1-2. I mean, they might even start the season 0-3. But this Australia game, I'm counting on it to take it out of the Rams. And, that'll be great because then the Super Bowl odds on the Rams will go way higher. So that'd be a great time to bet on the Rams to win the Super Bowl. So, it's a long season. So, I mean, still, we're barely past the halfway point in the CFL. No. Can you imagine? It seems like this has been a long season already, and it's only halfway done. So,
apparently, you have a little bit of NBA news to talk about.
Oh God. Well, this happened.
Is it news or gossip?
Well, it's conspiracy theories. I mean, of course,
everybody loves those.
Yeah, the wild thing happened in. Oh yeah, there's even more to this one. There's some great stuff.
What do you got? Lay it on us.
Okay, so of course the Lakers were sold. Sold for. Okay, so the Lakers were sold after being owned by let's call him businessman Mark Walter. Really, as Bernie Sanders would call him, he's a speculator. But let's call him a businessman, Mark Walter. Bought the Los Angeles Lakers last year. He's also the owner of the Dodgers, and he's I guess him and his management team has famously been credited for the back-to-back World Series wins by the Dodgers, by the obtaining of Mookie Betts, by the obtaining of Shohei Ohtani, and just really dominating the league to the point where there's going to be a lockout in December, and the season's probably going to start late because because the situation with what billionaire owners are able to do these days is so out of control that they have to rework the system. Might even bring in a salary cap in baseball, which would be wild. But in any case, Mark Walter managed to flip the Los Angeles Lakers 1 year after buying the team and turn a $2.5 billion profit on the team. $2.5 billion, right? Okay, now, first off, you have Mark Walter selling the team. Okay, now, Mark Walter is currently under federal indictment for, what is this? For massive fraud to the tune of, tax fraud investigations to the tune of something like $20 billion. Okay. Apparently, he's doing on a very large scale what's happening in the Los Angeles Clippers land. Where he's more or less loaning himself $20 billion. Okay. So now, first off, there's some questions regarding, why he did this. And of course, the snappy answer is, well, he's got to pay this. He's going to have to pay this fine. Now, he sold this team to Bob Iger, who was the CEO of Disney, who during Bob Iger's tenure bought Pixar, and some could say ruined that studio, bought Marvel Entertainment, who's been crummy, whose movies have been crummy for the past 5-6 years now. The TV series have just been god awful by these guys, and bought Lucasfilm, the Star Wars and Indiana Jones ownership. So while he has increased Disney's net worth by, get this now, $145 billion in those 15 years that he was head of the CEO, one could argue that they're putting out a lot more inferior product. Okay, so you got Bob Iger. Now, Bob Iger does not have $12.5 billion. The other buyout person is Josh Kushner, right? Who, yes, Americans know this name, as he is the brother of the son-in-law of Donald Trump. Now, the immediate conspiracy theory is, okay, so you've got a guy who's under federal indictment. How might you best get out of such an indictment of billions of dollars when the head of the federal government is probably the most corrupt guy that's ever run it? Well, hey, how about make nice with the in-laws? How about that? How about giving Josh Kushner a sweet deal on, basically the NBA's marquee franchise, basically the biggest franchise in the NBA, one of the biggest franchises in the world, sports franchises in the world, I would say, by name recognition. Okay. So you've got that. That's an easy call there. Conspiracy. All right. Now, on top of this, you've got this new intrigue with the Buss family. Okay, the Buss family, longtime owners of the Lakers, famously kind of ran the team into the ground prior to LeBron James coming over in 2018 or 2019. I forget which offseason that was exactly. LeBron coming over to the team kind of had the longest run in the history of the franchise not making the playoffs in this time, based on a lot of incompetent moves by the Buss family and their front office. Now, the Buss family still owns a 17% stake. This is divided among 6 of them. All right. Jenny Buss, she's still the team governor, so she still represents the team at owners' meetings and blah, blah, blah. She's refusing to sell, whereas the other siblings want to sell. So that's an interesting bit of intrigue going on there. And finally, what's been coming out recently is, and this is just wild, is that apparently LeBron James had business dealings with who? Mark Walter, right? The guy that sold the Lakers. Now, isn't it interesting that LeBron James left the Lakers a few weeks before Mark Walter sold this team, reportedly, okay, at least legally, at least officially, 4 days after meeting with Kushner and Iger. Okay, so as Ramona Shelbourne reported for ESPN, Walter met with Kushner and Iger on a Sunday, and they were signing the papers on a Wednesday, officially. Okay, come on now. The conspiracies are easy to think about here. I mean, I think they knew. I mean, Kushner was first charged, I believe, in June. The government was doing stuff like seizing his phone, doing massive audits on his business dealings, et cetera, et cetera. So, Walter knew that something was going down here, 2 months ago. 2 months before he sold this team in 4 days. So, my God.
Very interesting.
And so, let's see. I want to make sure I can get the quote correct. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to paraphrase The Dark Knight here and say, this is not the sports story that fans deserve, but it's the one that the media really needed right now. I mean, nice dead space in North American sports in general. Not the CFL, not Major League Baseball, but everything else is kind of off. So meanwhile, now we've got basically the sports media, and by sports media, I mean everybody with a podcast, talking about this thing and really kind of realizing what corporatization, what billionaire owners are doing to North American sports. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, we're reminded of the fact that these North American, and really, I mean, American sports team owners are being, they're getting all the benefits of what is essentially a socialist system, stuff like player drafts, stuff like revenue sharing, stuff like this, while they're also getting all the benefits of capitalism from the consumers, right? Why does Los Angeles have to pay for a new stadium for the Los Angeles Clippers, who very, very, very few people care about, much less like? Why are we paying a billionaire for this stadium, which he gains all the profit from by charging outrageous amounts of money to everyday people to go and see these games?
Right.
Why is this happening? And this is just one thing. I mean, here's Mark Walter. This guy built the Dodgers. He bought the Lakers, again, the most celebrated team in the NBA. And now, after 1 year of not winning the championship, he gets to flip this team for $2.5 billion. meaning that, you know what's going to happen with the Lakers next season? Prices are going to go up. Despite the fact that their most marketable commodity, LeBron James, is not there.
Yeah.
Right? Now, come on. Finally, we're having some real outrage now from North American and really U.S. sports fans about this kind of stuff. Now billionaires are in a position to ruin sports franchises, which should be, originally this was supposed to be about unifying community. You look at the old days, 100 years ago in the NFL, these were local teams. These guys were local people. It's a lot like the CFL in the regard that, yes, they were attracting players from other parts of the country, but those players were giving back to the local community. And this still happens in CFL football. You get these American guys, they go up to Canada and they go, wow, Calgary or Vancouver or, Winnipeg are actually really cool cities. Hey, I like these fans. I can walk down the street to the store and I have fans like saying hello to me and stuff. It's great, and that's the way it used to be in the NFL as well back in the old days. But now, this billionaire ownership stuff just increases not only this propensity that we're cheering for laundry, as Jerry Seinfeld once said, but now we're cheering for laundry and we're paying through the nose for it. Like, what is going on here? And I really think that, again, this Lakers sale is the story we deserve. No, it's not the story we deserve, but it's the story we need to hear. So just a real bummer. I'm really considering like, why am I cheering for this franchise? You've got the guy that ruined Pixar and a guy that's, related by marriage to our corrupt great leader. Come on. It's a bummer. So that's my rant.
That's your rant.
Yeah.
Oz's rant. Brought to you by our favorite type of laundry, Royal Retros.
Yeah. Don't cheer for laundry. Wear some nice retro gear from the days when owners were real people, right? From the days when players were more in touch with the community and with the fandoms. We're talking retro memorabilia. Lots of great stuff available at Royal Retros. Stuff like ball caps, jerseys, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, jackets, and the proverbial more. The thing is that Royal Retros has the gear and paraphernalia representing dozens of teams from the good old days and defunct leagues like the USFL, the Arena Football League, the World Football League, XFL 1.0, Football Canada, various hockey leagues, including the WHA, Ale Nordiques, ABA basketball, and those great historical baseball leagues like the Pacific Coast League and the old Negro National League. Royal Retros has lots of reimaginings and reproductions of these old teams of the past done up in modern styles. Best of all, you can get 10% off anything in the store when you code SFTH, that's acronym for Shots from the Hip, at checkout. RoyalRetros.com, promo code SFTH for 10% off. Gear yourself up for summertime, for the fall time. Handmade stuff, and not $1 goes to any billionaires related to the U.S. president.
And not only reimagined teams, but teams of people's dreams, as you can see on the screen there. Atlantic Schooners. Look at that.
How about the Atlantic Schooners? Non-existent since 1983. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic.
Non-existent since 1983. That's great.
Yeah. Really great. We're still waiting for them. They were approved back in the 80s, and we're still waiting for them to take the field. Still undefeated. Still
Still
undefeated.
undefeated.
Yep. No, 43-year run of no losses.
And I want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Lather Soap Company. You know that smell after you played a full game, hit the gym, or sat on the couch yelling at the TV like you're the offensive coordinator? Yeah, that's not the smell of victory. Thankfully, Lather exists. Their handcrafted soaps leave you smelling clean, fresh, and significantly less likely to have your family ask you to shower before sitting on the furniture. So do yourself and everyone within a 5-foot radius a favor. Visit the link in the show notes and use code SHOTGUN20 for 20% off Lather soap today, because winning is great, but not smelling like the locker room afterward is even better.
Jason, do you really work up a sweat watching?
Hey, sometimes, sometimes it's nerve-wracking. Sometimes, I tell you.
Yeah, with your stamps this year, I believe it.
Man,
I tell you.
Being a Stampeders, a Flames fan, and a Raiders fan, like, come on, that's
yeah. I tell
there's
you,
a lot of
man,
mediocrity there.
I'm cool as a cucumber watching the Alouettes this season, man. No ladder necessary for me. Yeah.
Hey, let's head into the 4Ds. Or not? 4 topics, 4 choices. Debate it, discuss it, defer it, or delete it. No safe takes, no middle ground. This is debate, discuss, defer, or delete. Yeah. Tell them what we're about in this segment, Oz.
Okay, so this is the 4Ds, as the promo just told you. This week, I'll be giving Jason 4 topics. We will decide what to debate, discuss, defer, or delete. Topic number 1, I don't know if we need to discuss it much more, as I've already vented on this one. Topic number 1, the question is the sale of a sports franchise and new ownership enough for a fan to quit supporting the team? I'm looking for answers here. Lifelong Lakers fan, questioning my existence as such. Topic number 2, and this is a possible troll question in response to Jason's troll question of a couple of weeks ago. Now 0-10, are the 2026 Ottawa Redblacks the worst CFL team of all time? Let's talk about that one. Topic number 3. Okay, we've done a few of these sort of questions before, but in terms of goatness, in terms of greatest of all time teams, can we compare hockey teams from different eras? Is that even possible to compare those teams? And then finally, topic number 4 is, and we'll be doing the movie review later on, but in a sports movie, does the main character need to be sympathetic to make a good movie? All right. So I got a real grab bag this time. I haven't been leaning on the football too much this week. So, all right, Jason, how do you feel about these topics?
Wow. These are some good topics. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick ones to delete. At least if we defer topics, we can come back to them. But to delete a topic, man, I'm gonna delete topic 4 about the movie character.
Okay, fair enough.
And not because it's not a good question, because the other 3 were better.
Yeah, well, we can sneakily cover that anyway when we do the movie this week, I think.
I'm going to defer topic number 1 because I really like that question.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I didn't pay much attention to this in our production meeting, so I only looked at this earlier today, and I didn't have enough time to prepare for that question.
Okay. All right.
The other questions I've been thinking about and talk about quite often. Let's discuss the quest for the GOAT team and if we can compare hockey teams from different eras.
Okay. Right. Now I put this one on there because I have I feel that for different sports you can answer this different ways. I feel that like in especially in gridiron football, this question becomes really impossible because the rules change so much. It's such a complex game. You look back at, I just talked about 100 years ago. You look at 100 years ago, most of your players are two-way players. They're playing offense and defense. And shocker, most teams only have one coach, the head coach. Now you've got like 11, 13 coaches. You got quarterback coach. Okay. Plus the equipment changes. This changes a lot. NBA basketball, always rule tweaks every season. Yes, the basic idea is the same. Put the ball in the basket. But when the NBA started, for example, you didn't have the 3-point line. Only recently did international teams, especially in Europe, have a different looking court. They had the famous trapezoid, the trapezoid rather than the rectangle underneath the basket. Had a different looking court. So the rules change all the time in basketball. Baseball, on the other hand, I feel like has stayed remarkably the same in terms of rules, in terms of even it's been changing a little bit recently because of advanced metrics, but even in terms of strategy, the situation has often remained the same. And I always feel that, like, if, for example, you took, say, Lou Gehrig and put him in today's game with today's training techniques and things like that, I think he would reproduce his statistics. I think that he would have basically the same season. So I do think that you can compare baseball teams from different eras, but hockey is a little bit of a blind spot for me. And so I figured I would ask you your opinion on this. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that the first thing you mentioned was rules, because the first thing I have prepared in my notes is rules.
Oh, okay.
Obviously there's been, well, not obviously to you, obviously, because you're not a hockey fan, but there have been major rule changes and shifts in the game, like the elimination of the two-line pass in 2005. They've cracked down on obstructions and clutching and grabbing, and even you back in the day, you could whack a guy in the hands or give him a slight tug with your stick. You
Yep.
can't even touch a guy with your stick these days
Yeah.
without getting a penalty.
Yeah.
They've introduced hybrid icing, the goalie trapezoid, where the goalie can no longer play the puck in the corners.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't even know that.
It is a totally different game now than it was even 20 years ago. So I feel it's hard to compare eras in that respect. Next thing you mentioned was equipment, and oddly enough, I also have equipment in here, because back in the day, of course, hockey sticks used to be wooden, and now they're composite. Heavier, bulkier goalie gear. Goalie gear used to be heavier and bulkier back in the day. Now they've reduced sizes and restricted goalie equipment pad sizes. There's been the evolution of goaltending from a stand-up style back in the day to now most goaltenders are butterfly style goaltenders, and they have far greater mobility now than they did back in the day. Lighter, higher performance skates and protective gear. Like, I mean, there's so many equipment changes that it would be impossible to compare. I mean, I remember watching all-star games and skills competitions back in the 90s or 80s and 90s, where guys were using wooden sticks, and, in the hardest shot competition, rarely did a guy get over 100 miles per hour. Well, now they're doing that on a regular basis with the new composite sticks. So,
Okay.
then we go to the talent.
You put that down to the sticks. You don't put that down to training or.
Well, definitely training has definitely come a long way since. I know guys back in the 80s and 90s who would smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, of course.
You'd probably be hard pressed to find a guy nowadays smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day in the NHL.
Yeah.
Closest we'd get is a guy by the name of Phil Kessel. and he used to eat a lot of hot dogs and a lot of fatty foods. He wasn't
Yeah.
the leanest guy around, but
Yeah.
training and all that kind of stuff has definitely come a long way as well. Not to mention injury recovery and sports medicine, I think is definitely a lot different now. So, and that goes for every sport, right? I mean, that's not just hockey. I mean, geez, you watch these Netflix specials about NFL, quarterback and receiver shows. And I mean, they're doing crazy training and crazy, yoga, and they got personal trainers and chefs, and none of that was happening, 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, that was the thing, is that like Phil Jackson told this story. It might have even been in the Last Dance documentary series, where he used to play for the Knicks in the 70s when the Knicks were good, right? And he talks about how you'd come in at halftime and the team assistant would be standing there at the front of the locker room with 10 cigarettes in his fingers lit. Right. So each of the guys would come up and take a cigarette. Now
already
you've
lit.
got now you've got LeBron James traveling with his personal chef. I mean, come on now. Now, of course, back in the 90s, Michael Jordan was prone to smoking cigars after the game, but come on. I mean, in the 70s and, notoriously in the 80s, you've got NBA guys doing cocaine during the game, for God's sake. It's like, come on now. I mean, the health, just the whole health situation.
We're looking at you, better. Dennis Rodman.
I'm going to take off to Las Vegas just because. In
the middle of a playoff series.
Right. Yeah. Love it. Fantastic stuff. But see, that's not the game. It's a good point about the equipment. One of the things in baseball is, for example, when Babe Ruth was playing, there were times when that dude was using a 60-ounce bat. Can you imagine? Just because he thought that's how you had to mash it. Can you imagine this guy swinging a 32 ounce, which is what most of these guys use nowadays? I mean, that thing would shatter on a foul ball, if he were around nowadays. I mean, can you imagine what that dude would look like nowadays? I mean, he had the big barrel chest anyway in the 1920s.
I couldn't imagine.
Nowadays, he'd look like Mark McGuire, on steroids.
I have trouble swinging a 25-ounce to 30-ounce bat in slow pitch. Like, Jesus.
I mean, he was
That's
just
insane.
smashing that. Yeah, I know it. And he was hitting 60, 59 home runs a year. It's just like, damn. And I mean, can you just imagine this guy with training techniques? So, but the point of the stick is a good one. You can make this argument about tennis too. Tennis is another one where it's kind of hard to compare eras, because nowadays these guys are serving at 100, 120 miles per hour, because the graphite tennis rackets and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And for a long time it was wood, And so, the equipment thing is a good point. Yeah. I didn't even consider that when thinking about
Well, not only that, you have also different season lengths, right? I mean, back when the league NHL was a 6-team league, I don't know. I off the top of my head, I don't know how many games they played back then, but it certainly wasn't 82.
No. But it was a remarkably long season, and those were the days before the Zamboni, right? And I mean, you can't underestimate that. These games where by the third period, the ice is slush. And you're playing on that. The Zamboni makes sure that surface is perfect at all times. It's comparable to turf in football, right? I mean, if the ground is always perfect, that also changes the game. So interesting point. Okay, because I was mostly thinking about rule changes and training techniques, but it's an interesting point about the equipment. Of course, in basketball, you don't have much in the way of equipment. So that's not a huge argument there. But yeah, the rule changes, of course, in basketball are everything. They say that imagine Michael Jordan nowadays with the emphasis on 3-point shooting and no so-called hand checks. Like you could touch a guy with the ball in the old days. You can't anymore. And I mean, just imagine that. Just imagine not being able to put your hand on Michael Jordan with the ball. I mean, Jesus, he might have scored 45 points a game. and taking 10 three-pointers a game. Jesus.
Yeah.
Awesome. So okay.
All right.
All right, good points. Thank you for that. And so you want to debate the Red Blacks, huh?
Well,
all right.
I couldn't decide which one to debate. I mean, I don't know how much of a debate there's going to be.
Okay.
I mean, statistically, no, the Red Blacks are not the worst CFL team ever.
Right.
That's hands down the 1959 Saskatchewan Roughriders, in my opinion.
Okay.
Who I believe went 1-15. One of those, the one win they had was actually a forfeited win, I believe, right? I'm pretty sure it was a forfeited win.
Forfeit.
So they technically didn't even win a game that season, but only 16 games. 3 Down Nation actually has ranked them at number 1 as well. A close second is the 2003 Hamilton Tiger Cats, who went 1-17.
Yeah.
So that's the most losses in a season.
Yeah.
Now the Red Blacks, of course, right now are on a 10-game losing streak for the season, but they've technically lost 16 in a row going back to last season.
Right.
So damn,
right.
It's tough to debate, but I think you have to go by season, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm looking at a piece now. This is from something called The Touchdown, which is actually a UK website that covers all gridiron football sports. And this is from 2025, and they're listing the longest losing streaks in CFL history.
Okay.
All of these are crossing over onto 2 seasons.
Okay.
Right.
And what do you got?
Well, okay. I just wanted to point out a couple of recent examples, but just to give a comparison about how bad the Red Blacks are right now. You may remember Edmonton in 2022, 2023.
Since they became the Elks.
Right. And this was one of their early seasons as the Elks. But over 2 seasons, they were 8-28, including a 13-game losing streak that wrapped around from 2022 to 23. Also, shameably, you may remember those wonderful days when the Alouettes were playing, quarterback roulette. Going from about halfway through 2017 to about a quarter of the way through 2018, they lost 13 in a row. And in those 2 seasons, they were 8-28. I'm sorry. And
they're glad COVID came along.
Yeah, well, there was that COVID was a nice hard reset for the Alouettes. Really broke that run. After that, we had Cody Fajardo for a couple of years, and now we have Davis. So finally, some stability at the quarterback position. You may remember Rakeem Cato being the savior for about 2 weeks, week and a half, maybe. And so these are some teams in recent history. The Ticats, like you brought up, they were pretty awful. Now, there's some classics from what we can now call the old days, the last year of the Ottawa Rough Riders, right? They lost 13 games in a row in 87 within the 1987 season and finished that year 3-15. So that's pretty awful. That's pretty bad. Let's see. 63-64 Edmonton Eskimos, I can't really speak to. 13 games in a row. Oh, yes. And then, of course, we had some great ones in the CFL USA, including the Shreveport Pirates.
Yeah, 3-15.
It went 3-15, including a 14-game in-season losing streak.
Yeah.
Right. So the Red Blacks for one season are still looking up at that. Now they were pretty bad. I mean, that team I remember was just a revolving door all season. I mean, they made the Chris Jones years look like, stability. The Chris Jones years with Edmonton, they make that look like a stable run. The Shreveport Pirates did. Just an unviable franchise in general. I don't know. From my memory, I would still put the Pirates as worse than the Red Blacks this year, just because they were so embarrassing. I mean, they tried to change the rules for these guys, and they still couldn't win a game. So yeah, I'm gonna, just for the sake of debate, I'm gonna say the Pirates are still worse. But here come the Red Blacks. Now, if the Red Blacks drop both of those games to the Riders, to the Stamps coming up here in about a month, that means they would be at 14 games in a row. So we may have to revisit this after those two Stamps games, if the Red Blacks are 0-14. But no team has ever started this cold, has ever started this bad. So that would be an argument for them as the worst team of all time, as well. So
Now, the bright side is it's at least the Ottawa Senators, a team that probably doesn't have a huge fan base
That's another one.
anyway. It's if this were happening to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the world would be ending right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Or the Toronto Argonauts would be talking about going to the UFL.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, so
All right,
it's a good thing it's not an established franchise. I think you're correct on this one.
Yeah. Well, that was somewhat of a debate, I guess. This wraps up another episode of Shots from the Hip podcast. Next week, we will talk about the final week of preseason football before we fire up the regular season in NFL, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think this weekend is the final week of preseason.
Yeah, next week we will probably not. I mean, I guess we could start doing an NFL preview next week.
Yeah,
definitely
well.
in 2 weeks.
A quick preview anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just preview our teams.
Oh, wow.
The Rams and the Raiders.
Wow.
A tale of two opposite ends of the standings.
Yeah.
Do some crazy predictions. Just like our CFL predictions.
Yeah. Although mine are starting to look better now.
Yeah, mine have not looked so good since I was bragging on social media about a month ago. All right. That does it for us. Ciao, everyone.